Let's do this. What's up, YouTube? Nick here, Intersect Some Army, and today we're gonna install a Dynojet Power Series belt and give it a run for its money. So we're just gonna break down the full install process, how to take off your belt, how to put on the belt, how to do a proper break-in, and then every video for the foreseeable future, hopefully, we'll show you what the Dynojet Power Series belt can handle. So the reason why we're doing a full breakdown of basically everything involving this belt is because, you know, these belts retail for $204, $250 Canadian. You know, that's a lot of money to have to keep spending every ride. So reason why we're doing a full breakdown is I want to make sure that, you know, the money that you're going to be spending goes towards a good belt. I mean, it's great to have lifetime warranty, but if the belt only lasts 2 or 3 rides, you know, that doesn't help you very much. So that being said, let's get to it. All right, so first things first is you want to make sure that the issue was your belt. So to diagnose and troubleshoot that, I'll just tell you what was happening. So I put a brand new belt on, took it out for a ride. The break-in was done. This was on my second ride. I was out in low, probably around 7,000 RPMs, just riding on the trail, and then all of a sudden the RPMs jumped to about 8,900. The bike stopped moving, so that tells me the issue is inside the transmission. I heard a bunch of clunking around, so that usually is the belt itself let go and is just rattling around inside. So we're going to start by taking everything apart. So to do that, on the Renegades, on the stock ones, you are able to take the clutch cover off without taking your floorboard off. The fact that I have aftermarket floorboards helps even more, so I have enough clearance to get to every single bolt here. The size of the bolts are 8 mil or T27 Torx bits for the inside. So we're just going to grab our drill and start taking them out. Alright, so I'm all for making life easier for myself, so got my impact, so start taking the belt box bolts out. Get to as many as I can here. With the extension on. I'll take the rest off with the extension off. Okay, so we'll take the extension off. So quick correction, the Torx size is T30, not 27. If you can't find your 8 mil socket, use a T30 Torx bit. If you have an 8 mil, that'll be the way to go. But right now my 8 mil is packed away in my ride pack. Seeing I've been blowing belts quite often, I made sure I packed the required tools away so I'd be able to change a belt trail side. Okay, there's only a couple of these left. And one more. so it's just far enough. So I'm just gonna grab my no big deal. Wasn't quite off yet. Okay. Yep, so that belt's done. So we were lucky that the belt didn't hold on and thrash around. It's just the belt there in pieces. So that's a Gates belt, not the red line or the carbon, just the C12. So it's not the best one they make, or the strongest. Sorry. So yeah, I'll give you a quick look at what that looks like. Pretty simple to take that off. Just slide that out and off it comes. Alright, so you got everything cleared out. Now what you're going to do is you're going to need your secondary clutch spreader. You can find these on Amazon. I do not recommend the silver bolts. Make sure you get the hardened bolts. They are a little bit stronger. Anyways, so this bolt is going to go in one of these 3 holes. Now, one of these holes is threaded, so you're gonna have to get in nice and close and figure out which one it is. You can see it from here. This one is threaded, so we're gonna start threading that in, making sure we don't cross thread it and make life endlessly harder than it has to be. Okay, and once she's threaded, you grab your 13 mil or whatever size head your bolt is, and we are going to start sending it. Now what this is doing is it's driving the bolt into the back plate of your secondary clutch, which is going to spread it enough for us to slip the belt over top. Okay, and it's going to start to get a little bit more difficult. Position myself a slight bit better. Camera's in the way, so I'm just going to put this over here. Okay. I recommend not using a drill for this part, just because with a drill you're not really sure when the resistance becomes too much. So as you can see, so right there, that's about bottomed out. That's why I can't turn anymore. If I'd had a drill, I wouldn't have known. It probably would have gone too far and it would have snapped inside, and then you got a whole other mess of problems. But anyways, that's now spread more. As you can see, it's a little bit wider than the primary. Now we're going to slip the belt over top. So, grab our new Dynojet belt. Okay, once we have the belt out, just gonna make sure it doesn't say that it has to go on a certain way, and it doesn't. So I'm gonna slip that over top of the primary. Okay, we're gonna start by getting the belt right over top like that, and then all you do, you spin that. Okay, now your belt's on. Now what we are going to do is we're gonna start unthreading bolt. So once again, grab your 13 mil, go the opposite direction, so loose. Now, when you do this, okay, the secondary clutch will remain spread the whole time. So it'll be much easier for you to take the bolt out than it was to put it in. So you might just be able to do this with your fingers. And voila, once your bolt is out, you're going to notice that the clutch is still spread. So you're just going to take your secondary and spin it clockwise until it's nice and snug. Okay, now as you can see, the belt spins with the clutch and it's spinning around your one-way bearing, so this obviously won't turn. Now what you're going to do is put your cover back on. So, to do that, find all those little bolts you took out, back this up. There's no particular way you have to put this on. Just make sure all your bolts go back in. So you want to make sure that your gasket is still sitting flush inside the grooves, right? So you don't get any leakage. So once you make sure that that's happening, you'll notice some of these bolts didn't want to come out. Not a big deal. What I like to do is I like to put it on finesse our way back on there. Okay, once you have it seated, I like to start one up high. Get that on. Okay, so that one's nice and tight. I then like to go to the bottom. So you're going to the bottom and preferably the opposite corner. So what you're doing is you're preventing the clutch cover from moving while you have the gasket seated so that it doesn't slip off. Just preference. What I found is I've never had a clutch cover leak when I put it back on, so that's what I'm going to keep doing. Okay, so once they're tight, finger tight, I guess ratchet tight, you don't want to overdo it. Okay, once the corners are done, then I'll start up top next and just work my way around. Okay, now I cannot stress this enough. Once all your bolts are put in, check it again just to be sure. Make sure all your bolts are in. And they are. So there should be a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 bolts. Once you make sure that all of them are in the proper slots, just go around, make sure they're tight. Again, you just want to make sure they're tight. You don't want to make sure they're reefed on there, or else you're not going to get them back off. I did all those ones by hand. Okay, that's it. Your belt's changed. Now comes the fun part. We're going to break it in. Now, I'm not going to be breaking it in on the road. We have a very busy highway where I live, so we're going to do the next best thing. Again, do not try this at home if you don't feel comfortable. I've done it multiple times. That's how I break in all my belts, so I'm going to do it. So I'm just going to chalk the front tires, lift the rear end, and we'll get started. Okay, so we got our belt back on, clutch covers back on, our makeshift dyno treadmill or quad treadmill is ready to go. So now we're going to break in the belt. So, it says it right on the box. Please ensure proper break-in by using low gear at varying speeds and avoiding wide open throttle for 5 to 10 miles. So for you Canadians, 5 to 10 miles is approximately 8 to 16 kilometers. So we're going to keep it right in the middle, go for 10 kilometers. Now I like to be sure of my break-in, so I'm going to do 2 sets of 10 kilometers. So my first break-in, first heat cycle if you will be 10 kilometers today, and then tomorrow I'm going to do another 10 kilometer heat cycle. So again, avoiding wide open throttle. Now another reason why I don't do this on the road is if there's traffic and you have to stop, that's considered excessive resistance on the belt, right? Because when you let off, the engine brake comes on. So doing this in a controlled setting means your belt will be broken the proper way. So we're gonna get started. All right, so we got everything set up. Make sure we track this. So go trip A, reset that. So 10 kilometers is what we're going for, varying speeds, no wide open throttle. So we're in 2-wheel drive. We got it in eco mode just to be sure, and low gear.